Hey, you, the one who doesn't realize how heavy your presence is. You walked into something ancient without even realizing it, almost like you wandered onto a stage where a secret play has been running for centuries. Without knowing any of the rules, you stepped into the middle of a story far older and far larger than you. And the strange part is that you didn't enter through power or ambition or intention. You entered through a simple moment of kindness, a small, effortless act you barely thought about. Maybe it happened on a sidewalk, or waiting for the train, or in a crowded cafe. Someone was struggling, or in danger, or on the edge of something they couldn't come back from, and you reacted instantly. You did the human thing, the instinctive thing, the quiet right thing. Something so ordinary you forgot about it minutes later, but they didn't forget. And the person you helped wasn't some random stranger drifting through life. That brief intersection, those few seconds when your paths crossed, was the moment everything changed. Blamed. Because the person you pulled back from the edge wasn't just anyone. They were the head of an old and deeply rooted organization. The kind of group that rarely appears in public, but quietly influences everything. From politics to finance to old traditions, most people think have vanished. You save the one person at the top of it. The individual who carries authority other people only whisper about. And when you helped him, without knowing who he was, you unknowingly shifted centuries of hidden structure. You changed their hierarchy without even trying. And now, this group, this network with global reach and traditions, older than your family line, knows your true name, not the name you use online, not the version of yourself you show the world. Your actual identity, the one buried in documents and records you've never seen. From the moment their leader survived because of you, they began watching, paying attention, rearranging their own plans around the simple fact that you exist. Demands. There are rules in their world, codes and obligations older than many nations that they cannot ignore. And because you saved the person at the very top, their laws say he now owes you a life-deep debt. Not gratitude, not a polite thank you, a binding obligation that cannot be undone or ignored. That means every person within his order is tied to that same debt. You didn't ask for this connection, you didn't want it, and you didn't even know it was possible, but it attached itself to you the moment you reached out your hand to help. You didn't gain money or favors. You gained something much more serious: loyalty, protection, and access to the invisible structures that influence the world from behind the scenes. And the strangest part is that they will repay this debt, whether you ever speak to them or not. Millions. Maybe you've already felt it without understanding what it was. A shift in the way people look at you, as if they recognize something you don't see yet. A few oddly lucky breaks, a conversation turning in your favor, a problem that dissolves before it becomes dangerous, doors unlocking that shouldn't have opened so easily. You may have brushed these things off as coincidence, but the timing has been too precise. None of it is random. Behind the scenes, the machinery moved faster than you could imagine. Before you even got home that day, before you forgot what the stranger looked like, they were already studying you, not to judge or control you, but to understand who you are at your core. They checked everything about your past, not hunting for mistakes, but looking for proof of the thing their leader sensed instantly. Your motives are pure. You weren't acting for reward, recognition, or gain. You simply did the right thing because that's who you are. Bandi. But this is where everything grows more complicated. It might sound thrilling to have an ancient, powerful network indebted to you, but you don't yet understand the weight that comes with it. This isn't an IOU you can use once and walk away from. This is a connection that changes everything about your path. Whether you want it or not, you are now part of their structure. Once your name entered their records, the idea of outside stopped existing. They're observing you now, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. The tests you face won't look like tests. They will look like chances, opportunities, or unexpected meetings. A stranger striking up a conversation that feels too pointed. A business card appearing in your pocket. An email that offers precisely what you were searching for. Things happen by accident. They are trying to see what you will do with influence you didn't ask for. And the truth they aren't hiding from themselves anymore is this. They want you to join them, not as a pawn or a follower, but as someone whose instincts are rare. Someone who acts with honesty when no one is watching. Someone who does what is right rather than what is beneficial. People like that cannot be trained or bought, and they are becoming harder to find in a world shaped by self-interest. To them, your existence is not only a debt. They see you as an unpredictable, valuable presence who can shift their entire system in ways they cannot predict. Your arrival reshapes their future, and they are preparing to show you exactly what you've stepped into, even though you never asked to enter. Palendia. Now you stand on the edge of an old structure, drawn into its orbit without signing a single paper or speaking a single oath. You have become part of something hidden, something tangled deep beneath the surface of everyday life. And whether you choose to step toward it or away from it, nothing about your world is the same anymore. Plienda. Forget everything you have ever heard about mysterious groups pulling strings from dark rooms or smoky gatherings. All those dramatic stories people repeat, the conspiracies, the symbols, the hidden puppet masters, are mostly entertainment. They're illusions meant to keep everyone focused on the wrong thing. The truth is much simpler, far stranger, and far less theatrical. These groups don't run the world the way movies suggest. They don't need to. What they actually created, long before you were born, is the framework the world quietly runs on. They maintain the systems and pathways that societies rely on, without knowing it, constantly adjusting and repairing the unseen wiring of civilization, while the rest of the world argues about surface-level issues. Real power isn't about armies, money, or political control. Real power is information. Pure, simple, unglamorous information. Not secrets meant for blackmail, not leverage meant for manipulation, but knowledge about relationships, obligations, skills, histories, and needs. The high ranks of this ancient order function less like rulers and more like the most complex information network humanity has ever built. Their reach spans cultures, professions, governments, and generations, not because they spy, but because their members naturally occupy every space where decisions get made. Talans. When a network like that exists, it doesn't need to control anything directly. Influence becomes effortless. A small touch in the right place can shift entire systems. And now, because of that moment of kindness you barely remember, you've become connected to this network. Not as an insider, not as a sworn member, but as something more unusual, someone they owe. Someone their leader is bound to protect and uplift. Someone whose progress or downfall reflects on them personally. And that creates a situation you may not fully grasp. Yet, it means that in certain places, before you speak a single word, there may already be people who know more about your character than your closest friends do. They may know what motivates you, what you stand for, what you avoid, and what you're capable of. It means barriers that would stop anyone else might quietly disappear for you. Not because you're being favored, but because removing those barriers is part of honoring the debt they owe. Without realizing it, You stepped into a game with rules you didn't know existed. Blamed it. But this is where most people fail. Many assume that having invisible support means they can demand things, take shortcuts, or treat their new connection like a tool for personal gain. The moment they do that, everything collapses. Not because the order punishes them, but because they reveal themselves as unworthy of the responsibility attached to it. This network watches carefully, not your achievements, but your decisions under pressure. They observe whether you stay grounded, whether you stay honest, whether you keep the same integrity you showed on the day you helped a stranger without expecting anything in return. They want to see if you understand that real power requires discipline, and that access without self-control becomes a trap. Being owed by powerful people doesn't elevate you automatically. It reminds you that someone trusted you enough to tie your fate to theirs. Pungent. Every small choice you make now carries more significance than you can see. The argument you decided not to escalate, the shortcut you declined because it felt wrong, the opportunity you rejected because it didn't match your values, all of these moments shape their understanding of who you are. They aren't analyzing you to criticize you. They are watching to see if you still possess the same quiet strength that drew their leaders' respect in the first place. If you stay true to that inner compass, then the debt they carry will eventually transform into an invitation. Not an invitation to wealth or status or the glamour people imagine, but something deeper, a place within the underlying structure itself, a position at the table where decisions aren't about politics or headlines, but about the foundational systems that support everything the world becomes. And now we reach the part that is rarely spoken of, the part outsiders only hear about in hints. These are the spaces where no documents exist, where conversations leave no recordings, where traditions pass from one person to another by memory alone. This is the level beneath the surface, the layer most people never even know they walked over. This is where they decide what comes next. A blood oath in their world is not a symbol, not a tradition, and not a poetic metaphor. It is a real commitment, a binding promise they treat as something deeper than any legal agreement or moral code. When the leader of their order swears such an oath, it isn't a gesture, it's a spiritual transaction, a bond written into a system of obligations that exists far beyond courts, governments, or any authority you recognize. And whether you wanted it or not, whether you understand it or not, you are now the recipient of that bond. In everyday terms, it means something most people cannot even imagine. If you are ever in real danger, true danger, the kind that threatens your safety, freedom, or future, you won't stand alone. You won't have to call for help. You won't need to reach out, and you won't need to explain anything. Assistance will arrive because the oath demands it. Your well-being becomes part of their honor code. Anyone who moves against you, anyone who tries to harm you, is no longer just threatening an individual. They are challenging the entire network behind that oath. And this network does not respond with emotional rage. It responds with quiet, precise, unstoppable force. The oath, however, extends beyond mere protection. It obligates them to help you grow, succeed, and move forward. If you truly need something, not a passing desire, but a genuine necessity, the path to obtaining it will subtly begin to shift in your favor. A door will open here, an introduction will appear there. First, swerve, and resources will line up in ways that look like coincidences, but are actually the hidden structure rearranging itself on your behalf. This only happens as long as your actions are aligned with something larger than your own comfort or ego. Built-in test. If you attempt to bend this connection for purely selfish or petty reasons, the quiet support simply stops functioning because they punish you. But because the system that carries the oath does not move for self-serving intentions, it behaves like a natural law. Balance is broken, lensed. What unsettles them most about your situation is how unusual it is. Most people who receive this level of loyalty have earned it through years of commitment, study, and initiation. They climb through structured steps and demonstrate their intentions along the way. You, on the other hand, were thrust into this bond through a single moment of kindness that landed on the most important figure in their hierarchy. It's you unpredictable. You don't belong to their structure. You don't follow their rules. And they can't forecast your choices. They owe you, but they hold no authority over you. In a system built on order, consistency, and controlled progression, you are an anomaly, an uncontrolled variable with the potential to strengthen them or expose their weaknesses. That is why they watch you with a strange mixture of admiration and fear. They hope you will embody the values they claim to uphold: honor, restraint, integrity. But they also worry you might misuse what you've been given and reveal that their ancient promises are only as strong as the people who try to live by them. In their eyes, you became a test they never expected, a test they didn't plan, didn't authorize, and cannot escape. You are now the mirror reflecting back every truth and every hypocrisy buried inside their traditions. How you carry this weight will determine whether you confirm the ideals they cling to or force them to face the possibility that their order has drifted far from what it once stood for. This leads to the question you've probably felt burning in your mind, the question that feels dangerous to ask. What exactly do they owe you? How does this ancient blood oath translate into your ordinary life? What does it mean to have their highest leader and everyone beneath him bound to your well-being? Beans. The answer is far less dramatic on the surface than you might expect. You will wake up tomorrow to the same responsibilities, the same job, the same bills, and the same problems. Nothing obvious changes overnight. There are no sudden payouts, no magic shortcuts, no instant. Instead, what you receive is structure, quiet structure, invisible structure, the slow, steady rearrangement of possibilities around you. Opportunities will stop closing so easily. Obstacles will become strangely manageable. People you've never met will be inclined to help you, not knowing why. At first, the world will look unchanged, but if you pay attention, you'll notice the ground beneath you has started shifting in your favor. Not through luck, but through a network honoring a promise you never asked for, the project you have been struggling to get funded, the one everyone said could never happen, the one that means more than just personal success, suddenly begins to move. Out of nowhere, the right investor appears. Not because you reached out to them, but because your name quietly traveled through a chain of conversations. Someone mentioned you to someone else, who mentioned you again to a person with resources, purpose, and the desire to support something meaningful. The legal obstacle that has been slowing you down, the complicated and frustrating situation that felt impossible to handle, begins to fade. It doesn't disappear because of shortcuts or shady deals, but because someone in the background decided to speak on your behalf. Someone who knows someone, who owes someone, who understands that helping you fulfills a duty they carry. This is how things unfold now. It isn't magic or miracles. It's simply the natural result of people who have influence, using their connections, knowledge, and responsibilities to clear your path. And But hidden inside this help is a price, a cost wrapped in kindness. The debt owed to you will be repaid, but not in the way you choose or on the schedule you prefer. They will repay it according to what they believe is best for you, based on principles far older and deeper than anything you know. You don't get to demand anything. You don't get to treat them like some cosmic machine that gives rewards just because you've suffered. Their oath binds them to protect your highest good, not your momentary desires. Their decisions are shaped by centuries of understanding about what strengthens a person's character and what destroys it. That means sometimes repayment looks like opportunities closing before you can use them. Sometimes it looks like something being taken away to protect you from a path that would give you success at the cost of your identity. Sometimes it simply means being shielded from choices you would later regret. And the most powerful part of all is that they will repay the debt. Not maybe, not someday, but absolutely. Because for them, the oath they swore is not a promise. It is a rule of their existence, something built into who they are. Breaking that oath would be like trying to stop breathing. Every member of their order carries the responsibility of every oath ever made. Your safety, your integrity, your progress, those things are now part of what they must uphold. Pliant, they didn't choose this responsibility. It began when you saved their grandmaster without knowing who he was. His decision to bind the order to you now echoes through every one of them, and they are still trying to understand the full weight of it. And here you are, standing between your old life and something completely different. You could ignore everything that's happening. You could call it coincidence, luck, or imagination. And even then, the debt would still surround you quietly, protecting you, guiding you, opening doors you might never realize were opened for your sake. Or you could accept what's happening. You could recognize the responsibility that comes with being owed something by people who take their promises more seriously than anything else. You could let yourself rise, not because you demand it, but because you align with the kind of person who deserves it. You can grow into someone capable of carrying this gift without being overwhelmed by it. If you do that, if you handle this with the same natural goodness that made you save a stranger without knowing he was a leader, then the repayment won't only change your circumstances, it will change you. It will shape you into someone strong enough to receive everything without being destroyed by it. The debt is real. The oath is unbreakable. The order is watching and preparing, and they will repay what they owe. The only question now is whether you're ready to accept what's coming, whether you have the strength to carry a gift that heavy, whether you understand that being owed by power does not make you powerful, but responsible for how that power moves in your name. So choose your next step carefully. Choose with intention. Choose like someone who unknowingly saved a king, because that is who you are. And that is exactly the reason everything around you is beginning to change.